Hello and welcome to the first episode of Chatting Shit about the Polkadot Cup. It started a bit earlier than usual, but if you haven't heard, a lot of people don't like this month's cup, so we're not going to talk about that. I'm joined by the ironic Sharky King Jake, the isotonic PvP Steve, and the iconic Pikachu Dan. How is everyone?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good. I'm on the same show as Steve, and I've just been called iconic. I feel
Well,
really special now.
We're on my channel, not Steve's channel, Dan. And
Yeah, I'm a nobody here.
I was waiting for moronic or catatonic or something like that.
Well, I was struggling, but I thought isotonic's something to do with like energy drinks, right? And Steve's got more energy in, I don't know, one of his little fingers than I have in my entire body, so it seemed to work. And
Jake's to Canada apparently.
Well, there you go. And Jake, of course, a PvP player tapping, but he's always hurting his fingers, so it seemed.
Hey, I think you'll find it's your teammate, the Welshman himself, who's the one who's injured himself most recently.
Oh, really?
That's on you guys.
So he's on the bench. It's all good. But yeah, okay, we're here and we're talking about Polkadot Cup. What's everyone thinking?
We've obviously spent the last, I think it's been about a month and a half of you saying, "Oh, do you just wait for this one? Everyone's going to love it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great." And so I feel like it's got a lot of hype to live up to. And the fact that I think a lot of people seem to be in mixed opinions. I don't want to say mixed opinions. There's a lot of people that haven't liked the last couple of cups. But I'm probably in the minority where I'm saying that I actually have enjoyed them, except for Ember, because Ember. But yeah, I think it should be. If you're saying that it's going to be a top tier cup, then I'm firmly looking forward to see what happens.
See, I think there's a cycle. I think there's bad cup, good cup, bad cup, good cup. So hopefully this is in the good cup cycle.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Ember gets a trashing, but Ember was better than Ionic. Just throwing it out there.
Oh,
Better than Ionic.
Oh, he's mentioned it. We've been 2 minutes in.
Ember wasn't by design. Its faults were by a move change, not by design. Yeah. As Ionic, I'm sorry, was moronic. It was designed badly. It was left in a position where certain mons became too selectable. And yeah, I won't go on to my rant about it. Do you know what I mean? But today, one of the biggest European servers had to cancel their Ionic Cup because of lack of interest. That tells you how much it is. So, yeah, I'm sorry. The community is speaking.
Well, I wonder then, Steve, if you want to
speak to a positive light here.
Yeah, and tell us how great the wave system is, because it means that.
Yeah, you don't even have to use your waves in Ionic if you don't want to. But yeah, to be honest, like I've been pretty disconnected for the last little bit. I played one Ionic Cup. That was going to be it. I didn't have a bad time. And maybe it's just the sort of level of, if you're going to be spending heaps and heaps of time playing this one meta, it might be one that you sort of get tired of quickly. But as someone who hasn't spent a lot of time playing Ionic, I thought it was all right. I mean, I think I came away with a 3-2 result from one of them. And it's like, all right, I've played some Beware matchups now. Not going to do that again. And sort of like, I'm a simple guy. I'm a bit of a dumb. I like the metas that are sort of easy to understand. I know what's going on. And so when you say something like Polkadot that's got 100 Pokemon whitelist, I get scared. I go, uh-oh, how am I going to understand this one? This isn't just simple fire beats water in my dreams sort of going on. But I don't know. It sort of seems like I like the look of Polkadot so far in my limited look at it.
Yeah, I think what I like about how it looks is that there are some real, and we're gonna come into Jake shortly to really exemplify what I'm about to say, but there are some really, really bad mons that look really, really good here. I think that's really exciting.
It's like the Sylph Classic, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what you want from Sylph, isn't it? Well, so it's certainly what I want from Sylph, but yeah. So Jake, go on, then we'll start with you, mate.
So yeah, you were saying that there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of that looks a bit weird, but looks pretty good. Which, as you say, is pretty exemplified by my pick of, and I know I didn't do this last time, so Dan, you have to forgive me for the last time. Mine is Pokedex number 196, which is Espeon. And I know I personally have never used an Espeon. I don't have one built. I don't have even an inclination of where I would have started to use one before this. But in this, from the brief look I've had, there's a fair bit of of poisons around, and a reasonable amount of psychics. So poisons, obviously, you've got your confusion, you've got your, I think it's psychic fangs, and then you've got Shadow Ball as a bit of coverage, or you could have
Last resort.
thank you, Dan. Last resort. I personally reckon Shadow Ball is the one to go for, just because it hits
Shadow
just
Ball.
about everything. Yeah, it's Shadow Ball, isn't it? We've all used Shadow Ball. We've all been hit by a Shadow Ball, and you're never particularly happy when you do. It's beating some things that I didn't expect it to do when you take into account how fragile Espeon is. It's got an attack stat of 147, which is ridiculous. But that's obviously glass. Somehow you're pulling out a win against a Minun, and that's going straight Psychic Fangs. But I can only assume that's. I can check. I have it.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Yeah.
It's quick attack minor.
Um,
One shields, straight psychic fangs, and you're left with 32 HP.
yeah. Which
You're
is,
beating it in the ones and the twos, and they're beating it comfortably.
Yeah.
It's not small victories.
and when you consider that in Ionic Cup at the moment, the Minun pick is the bulky electric. It's the one that you pick if you want to add anything to your team to actually give you a bit of non-shield advantage.
And just to interrupt quickly, just while we're on the subject of electric types from Ionic, I've just tried to draw a comparison as to how bulky or fragile it is. This is more fragile than an Electivire.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that's got a comparable attack stat, but when I'm done talking, I'll have a quick look and then yeah. But yeah, it's putting in work I didn't expect it to do, and I think if you want that kind of Confusion Psychic Fangs kind of fast move beatdown, I don't think you can particularly go wrong with this. It looks genuinely solid, which is not something I ever thought I'd say about any of the evolutions except for Umbreon. So, what do you guys think?
I've just quickly had a look, and one Pokemon that's got like a very similar attack stat, not that it gives much of a comparison, but is Mewtwo in the Great League.
This one's for you, Morton.
Wow. I mean, Espeon's he's Umbreon's like ugly brother, isn't it? It's it's I'd forgotten it got Shadow Ball. I really had forgotten it got Shadow Ball. And when Jake said he was covering Espeon, I did a little bit of a small dive on it because I was like, oh. And I'm not bigging Jake up here too much, but he usually does come out with good left field picks, and somebody I do respect his knowledge on things and stuff for. It's not a zero shield mon.
No.
This is a mon you are investing shields in. I just want to throw that out there. If it actually 22% of the meta in the zero shields, that's what it wins. So please don't hold it in the back and have no shields or something like that, because you're dying. You're just dying horribly. But Jake's right. The list of things it beats is there. It really is. One of the first things I thought when looking at this meta was, okay, there is a lot of poisons, I suppose it's because of you've got your grasses, and most of your grasses have got a poison typing as well, and things like that. It seems to be that secondary typing for everything poison. So psychics is obviously going to be very good. So a confusion user with psychic fangs is, yeah, psychic fangs is a nice little toy. It's not just a bait move; it does actually chip away. And
So I think the psychic types are really, really interesting here, because you have obviously Espeon seems like it's the most aggressive one, but then particularly if we're looking at confusion psychic fangs, you've also got Swoobats, which is probably a harder Beedrill counter. You've also got Girafarig, which will wall.
I just want to point out, everyone made fun of me the other month for saying Swoobat when we were talking about.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be
it's a
solid
weird
here.
one.
But so you've got Swoobat, which can wall the Beedrill much better. You've got Girafarig, which can wall the other psychics. Well, it can certainly wall Espeon. And then you've got a Ranguru as well, which doesn't have the psychic fangs, but has the ghost immunity whilst having the dark move as the coverage. So, you know, and there isn't any, I don't think there are any steel or dark types here. So the only psychic resistances you get in are from other psychics. So psychics will be popular, but I think we'll see a really even split amongst what psychic types people use, because they all have such slight variances, and I think they're all as viable as one another.
Yeah, I think Espeon, I mean, it's a Pokemon that I'm probably too much of a coward to use, because it's like, you're not going to be able to take a single move in the world. As soon as anything coming your way, you're like, take my shields, please. Just go. But it does, like, it's got a scary moveset. And if an Espeon sort of coming your way, you sort of got a little bit of pressure to shield, because obviously, like, Shadow Ball is a really scary move for a lot of things. And when you're coming from something with the attack stat of Mewtwo, it's like, you're going to take even more damage than you would from like another Shadow Ball user. And with that sort of, I guess, the shield bait potential from Psychic Fangs, it does sort of give you a little bit more play. Although, you know, how long is your Espeon going to survive to be able to get a Psychic Fangs off and then a Shadow Ball off onto something with the defense drop? Like, you know, you might still have 2 shields, but they might be able to fast move you down at that point, depending on what they've got. So it's like, it could have use. And I think it might be a little bit of, you might have to get a little bit lucky. I don't think it's going to be like, you know, any sort of ultimate safe swap. Like, I'll bring in my Espeon, invest shields, and take something away. But, you know, I think it's got some play.
You've been playing Sylph since the start, haven't you, Steve?
Yeah.
Do you remember, and Jake, I know you started season 2. Dan, were you season 2 as well?
I was the end of season 1. I dabbled a bit.
So
I did right at the end of season 1.
So you may all remember then when regional started for season 1 and the hype started around Gallade. I don't know if that's rings a bell with anyone. And it sort of had like that weird fragility, but also confusion was good, and the coverage it had was good. It kind of it sort of became a bit of a trend, right? Because some Americans did really well with it, and then it sort of slowly crept into regionals. It sort of reminds me of Gallade in that respect here, where it could just
So
be.
I've just found something that has almost an identical attack stat, and you're never going to believe what it is, and it's going to be such a throwback.
Go on, Lucario.
Fracture.
Oh, really?
Fracture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're both 145. Yeah, so it's similar. It's got
Espeon's 147.
Perfect IVs. It's well, yeah. So yeah, perfect IVs. It's in the same ballpark as Fracture, but it's got a lower stat product.
Right.
And if I've ever played against you with a Fracture, then you know how fragile that thing is. So that's the kind of fragility we're talking about with this thing. I think it's going to be a funny one to just see what you can do with it. Is kind of what I'm going to do. There's, from what I saw, there's only one thing in the entire meta that's kind of walling it, which is Girafarig.
Yeah, Giraffrig and Orangaroo. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you've also then got Araquanid, which might enjoy taking it on.
Oh yeah, but you say that, but it's only going to get about 6 bug bites in there.
It's a good point.
It's not going to get much farm.
No, you're not even going to get to a bubble beam before you've killed the Espeon.
No, that's true. But then you just going back to what I was saying about Giraffrig being an alternative. Giraffrig gets Thunderball. So if you are looking at a Confusion Psychic Fangs user, and you're thinking, "Oh, Araquanid's going to beat me up," then Giraffrig.
Well, I actually, this is if we're going to go on the topic of Giraffrig, which I know nobody's picked, but why not?
It's relevant, right? It's good.
Yeah. I don't see Giraffrig as a Confusion user. I know that's what the recommended.
You see it as a double kicker.
Yeah, it's double kick and Psychic Fangs.
It's a really good point, and it has tackle as well, which is now usable on stab.
Are there any ghosts?
No ghosts.
No ghosts.
But you have got Beware.
Yeah, but you've got Psychic Fangs.
I'm just thinking because it's got the Shadow Claw. Yeah,
which you'd resist.
Hmm.
I think Orangaroo is going to be a tricky one because the Confusions are they're going to chunk, and you've obviously got the super effective charge move in Foul Play. Yeah. It's been a while since Forged, and Giraffrig I think is going to be an interesting one because you could have that moveset versatility, and you don't know which you're going to come up against. But I don't see it as Confusion because you can pressure shields quite easily with that thing, with double kick and spams. So
That's
I mean, interestingly, even up against like Orangaroo, who isn't, is a little bit of a wall to something like Espeon because it's got that normal typing.
Yeah.
If you have a shield advantage, you can still take it away like reasonably comfortably as long as you sort of land a Shadow Ball somewhere. So it's like, it's not the end of the world.
And it should be reasonably easy to land a Shadow Ball because that Orangaroo isn't going to want to shield versus you, is it?
Yeah.
Like, let's face it, it's meant to wall you. It's
Could you get to
it? I feel you can see the cogs turning.
It's like, wait, what have I picked?
I know, yeah.
And no one's going to shield that.
Yeah, no one's going to shield that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Solid point. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's my strategy for next month.
Fair enough.
Although again, it's one of the most common things to say to make any Pokemon look good is it can do these things with a shield advantage.
Exactly, right. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about the first episode of the month because people, it's not like we've got Drew sat here going, well, Galv with a shield advantage and 4 Volt Switches beats everything, like it's people haven't had time to look at the Sims like to that extent. So it's kind of, it's how you get that shield is the big thing. Especially when there are some quite bulky things here. And
the stupid thing is that I couldn't say that about Espeon. Give Espeon 2 shields, and I reckon it still loses to Araquanid.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
Espeon does the same with 2 shields as it does with 1.
Yeah, it's
the exact same percentage. It's yeah,
it's one of those ones. Cool. Well, given the big talk on psychics we just had, Dan's got I feel like it's quickly becoming a bit of a fan favorite in Sylph, your pick, with a bit of super effective bug damage.
As it should.
Yeah, so I looked at the meta, and as I said earlier, I looked at it and thought, oh, poison's going to be everywhere, which means psychic's going to be everywhere. So I want something that beats psychic comfortably. But I don't want it to, pardon my language, shit the bed versus everything else, really. So I've gone with Pokedex number 0503, and that is Samurott. Yeah, we've talked about it before on Chatting Shit. I think I've said before, Jake was the person who made me build a Samurai, watching him use it to great effect. I really like it, and the point of liking it is that it doesn't shit the bed versus everything else. Things have to respect a hydro cannon, no matter what you are. You have to respect that. So even if I'm coming into a bad matchup against an electric or against a grass type, I'm gonna be able to hurt them on the way down, and I think that's gonna have real importance and play here. We all talk about the fact Fury Cutter is uh, basically useless. It's not really hurting that much, apart from psychics, which is only tipping away at them, chipping and chipping and chipping away, and it's really, really fast. Looking at it in numbers, in the 1 shields, it wins 63, zeros 55, and 2 shields 59. So it's respectable numbers compared with other metas that we've used it in the past, where we've said no, you've got to invest 2 shields for it to be worthwhile or have any sort of judgment with it. I did a little bit of messing about with, because we all know, love doing that type of thing of, oh, if you do 1 Fury Cutter, you get this. You do 1 Fury Cutter, you get that. 1 Fury Cutter takes you up to 74% wins. 3 Fury Cutters, 79, 4, 83, 5, 85, 6 takes you to 87, and 7 Fury Cutters takes you to 90% of the meta. And Steve pointed out to me earlier, if you manage to get 16 Fury Cutters in, 16 Fury Cutters in, you win 100% of the meta. That's right, 100% of the meta.
Wow.
And we know how fast Fury Cutters are. You could have a momentary lag and not realise, and suddenly, boom, I'm at 16 Fury Cutters.
Yeah, well, 16 Fury Cutters is like 8 seconds. So they need
That's-
to like tap the confusion, you swap in, keep tapping, and then they accidentally over tap another confusion.
Yeah, this is it.
I mean,
and in that time, Espion's almost dead as well, right?
Well, Espion wins the 2s somehow.
But the thing I was looking at was, again, not crapping the bed on its way out and wanting something that I felt was safe-ish to switch into it, because for all poison's quite a good type. Do you know what I mean? It's not rubbish, and I think it does have play here as long as you've got enough protection to take care of it. Confusion hurts poison types very, very badly. I played Matt earlier in some scrims, and yeah, confusion really, really hurts, especially if you use 2 of them in the same line of 3. That's just like really hurts. It's like really, really, really hurts. So having something that can, hurt them on the way down. Looking at the stuff it beats most of the things you'd expect it to beat. Surprisingly, it does beat quite a lot of the electrics, which is nice, and does beat a few of the grasses as well on the way down. So,
do you know, just on the electric thing, during that game earlier, I'll happily put this out there. I had this big brain idea that I was going to use Kanto Raichu because it had Wild Charge, and then I didn't want to get walled by ground types. So instead of having Thunder Punch or Brick Break, I went for Skull Bash. And of course, when it came up to going up against the Samurott, without Thunder Punch, you're just too slow. Slow. So I quickly talked myself out of that particular strat. Just having one matchup against the Samurott. So,
I'm going to admit, when I was playing you, Matt, I was using Galv as my electric type, and I hadn't properly TM'd it, so I still had like energy ball stuff, energy ball and lunch on it, and I'm like,
from the electric cup.
Yeah, this is not good.
That's actually a really good point. Do we I know Galv is going to be a big one here, and I'm just going to quickly double check something.
I think Galv's a nice core breaker. I think it's got a nice core breakerness to it, but you could argue there are other stuff, say Zeb Striker, which might be more interesting and is equally glassy. Do you know what I mean? So,
Is it equally glassy though, or is it just glass?
I mean, come on, we're not surely saying that Zeb Striker's comparably good to Galv, are we? Surely not.
Dev Striker knows wild charge, mate.
Yeah, but
You
Zeb,
ever hit?
like,
You ever hit a wild charge on a Don fan?
no,
No.
It
because I
hurts.
know what moves to yeah, but it also has
No, but-
flame charge.
Yeah. So for some reason you manage to get a flame charge in first, which powers you all up, and then some reason you get to a wild charge, and really, you're taking that Don fan down in one. Think about it. If you've got 27 sparks,
And 3 shields advantage. See, I was going to say, do you reckon this could be a case for factions, Galv, in where you run Fury Cutter?
No.
no,
You get into your moves ever so slightly quicker, and you don't have
you
the,
are, but you want your electric to be able
clunkiness.
to take down Arachnoid.
Yeah, and Dugong, and there's a fair few flying types here, all of different subtypings, and having that consistent pulse, which is
And you don't want 2 electrics on your team.
no.
That's the point. I mean, if you were going to do that with Galv, you'd need something else that was going to do that electric damage. And yeah, I think the teams, unlike other metas like Ionic, where you only need 4 mons, maybe 3 if you pick the right 3. You know, I think this one actually you do need your whole bag of tricks. I think you do need that full tool belt full of everything. In scrims, I like to use every mon on my team, and it's something me and Matt spoke about, because I say to him, in scrims he plays the same team twice against me, and he goes, yeah, but I wanted to see if it did this time, and I wanted to see if I could improve on what I was doing. I was like, no, if I'm scrimming, I'm changing my team completely every time. I'm using every single one of my 6 in that, 3 battles.
Yeah.
It's probably why he's better than me. He's probably learning more than me. So, but yeah, I think you do need all your bags of tricks here. I think, yeah.
See, I really tried to get into the free trial for Zoom, because I knew we'd go on a lot of tangents this episode. So we were talking about Samurott before we switched into the electric chat. Steve or Jake, any thoughts on Samurott?
Yeah.
Oh,
you go ahead.
Sorry, Steve. I famously love Samurott. It is one of my favorite Pokemon, and so I think any kind of opportunity where you get to use it is a good opportunity. To the extent that I'm running it this month, and I think it has a very solid place, despite the fact that there are a couple of grass types around and some electric types and stuff around.
Fair enough.
What are you doing, Dan?
I know.
Sorry, it's just I can see the photographs and they all look squint.
All right.
I was listening. I
Just
just
a hint or something. It's like
no, I was just getting really kind of like, oh no. Sorry.
That's fine. I was saying there's a lot of ice types around. Sorry, not ice types. It's been a day. Electric types, and there's a couple of grass types around, and I think Samurott, despite being weak to them, it just dishes out so much damage that it doesn't really matter what you are weak to, because everything wants a shield. And I know you were saying about having a couple of Fury Cutters advantage, but it's Fury Cutter. It's very possible to get 2 or 3 of them as an advantage. And then that raises the questions about, is this going to be a Mega Horn? Is this going to be a Hydra Cannon? And if you are resisting the water, which only a few things do, they're not going to want to take a Mega Horn. I don't think anything wants.
You're looking at other water types, really, aren't you? And that's the key thing. Yeah.
With 2 Fury Cutters,
Here we go.
there's only Chestnut, Leafeon, and Quelladin that beat it in the 1 shield.
Big Quilladin. Love Quilladin.
Big Quilladin.
Quilladin
It
will
feels
be
like,
good here.
Mate,
On the
of course
sly,
it will.
Quilladin will be good.
Do you know, I'm going to break a wall here. Someone else on the meta team was saying we don't need to include Quilladin. Like, I passionately argue for Quilladin's inclusion. So I'm in no doubts that Quilladin will be solid.
Is that because you built one? Was it
Yeah,
not last season, the season before for was it Cons or
Continentals.
Regional?
Yeah, Cons. Yeah, but
I remember that.
I didn't use it in the end. But well, I will get onto that because there's some. My pick actually is it's a similar story to that. Yeah,
just come on, guys. Please let me use my Quilladin.
I know.
I need to use it for something.
Exactly, got to justify the dust.
it
But
seems
Steve,
weird that it's Matt that's saying about using Quilladin and not Dan.
Dan goes the whole hog. Dan goes for the XL chest pin. Dan doesn't
It's
mess
got to be
around.
the chest pin. It's got to be the chest pin, mate. You're gonna do it. You got to do it properly. You know what I mean?
But Steve, you were going to say something about Samurott.
On Samurott, I'm a big fan. I can't remember which self meta it was that Samurott was the. Oh, it's the same one as Oranguru, wasn't it?
Yes,
Was it
it
Forged?
was.
Yeah, it's forged.
Yeah.
Forged.
That Samurott really sort of came out as a big gun totem thingamajiggy. And it's still just really good. Like Fury Cut is nice. Hydro Cannon is obviously a really good move that is really good against everything except the other waters. Like you're getting wins against like Manectric, who is like, you're not even that scared of the electric types because it's not like, electric types tend to be on the sort of frailer side. And once you've got something that's throwing this big, heavy Hydro Cannon at you, it's like, you can sort of land one and then like you can almost Fury Cut it down with shield some of the time against a lot of stuff. So it's like, it's kind of just a really good Pokemon. And I feel like when you started talking about it, you sort of like start off with some sentences sort of played it down a little bit, but it's just a really good Pokemon. And, I'll almost certainly have it on my team.
Really?
I think we play it down because certainly and we all have been playing for a period of time now, but Swampert was so good. And then a lot of us play Ultra as well, where Empoleon was very good. And Samurott just felt like a weaker version of them. And it sort of in the last year or so really, and maybe it's because of the metas that it's been out there and exposed, but it's really coming to its own. And it's just enjoyable playing. And I think maybe it's just you get bored of using Swampert all the time. Or maybe it's just the fact Swampert's banned in every meta because it's so broken. I don't know.
It is,
but...
yeah.
See, I still have a bit of a thing about Samurott actually not being that difficult to play against. Like we talk about all this stuff about it, maybe even with 2 or 3 Fury Cutters advantage, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of Sableye in that the way to play against it is just not to switch out versus it. Like if you can stay in, just stay in, deny it that energy advantage, and then you still might lose, but you can farm it down, and it sometimes it can be taken advantage of if you play around it, sort of fairly well. Whereas I think Swampert is harder to play around. I don't really know why, but
I've got a theory,
Dual
and it's
typing?
that Swampert's. Not only does it have the typing, so it's got some sort of like a really nice. It's got a really good typing. Only one big super effective weakness, and that's grass. But also, Swampert is a little bit tankier. So like Samurott, even though it's doing big Hydro Cannons and it's able to do all this stuff, it's also, as Matt said, if you stay in with something, there's not a lot of Pokemon that, like, as much as there's not a lot of Pokemon that don't care about Samurott, everything's a little bit scared. Samurott's also a little bit scared of everything else at the same time. So it's still got a sort of like, it's not an Espeon shield hog, but it's a little bit of it. You kind of want to use a shield on it so that you can sort of get that spam going.
What I'd say with that is though, and again, this is, sorry to harm on about you, Jake here, but Jake's quite good about he's quite good at using it. And I've seen him, and we've spoken about it a lot, but Jake used it in this sort of soft loss sort of way. So when people were staying in against him, he wasn't getting hard beat. He was soft losing, which was giving him the opportunity to come in with something, get a bit of, and get the energy back that way. Do you know what I mean? He was going into these knowing he was going to lose. I'd seen him in certain scenarios, like, I'm not even going to Hydra Cannon, I'm going straight for the Mega Horn. I'm going to hit the one Mega Horn because they've got to shield it. They've got no choice. And then I'm going to die straight away, but I'm going to come in quickly with something else and get that then on. And I think it's the intelligent play. And maybe that's why we, again, about us all evolving and the system evolving and stuff like that, us as players have evolved. I'm a much more used to that intelligent play, if you'd like. So,
yeah. No,
See,
sure.
one thing that I know it's not available just yet, but obviously in the future we're going to have the opportunity to get Shadow Samurai, which then opens up the same kind of worms that you have with Swampert about whether you want that 20% less bulk for 20% more damage, because 20% on a Hydra Cannon it's a lot.
Yeah, and actually, if a lot of the time when you're using Samurai, it's because you like the bulk damage, and if that 20% gives you a break point on Fury Cutter versus the grass type, then that is massive.
Yeah.
So that could be a real big thing one day for sure.
but shadows are not in this cup.
No, they're not.
We're losing a
No,
lot
they're
of
not, but,
time
you know,
on
that's just
a heavy metamon. Come on, it's called chatting shit. Let's move on.
Fair enough.
Let's move on to something that's a little bit more out there and freaky.
Did I say it was Steve next?
Okay,
that
then
is
maybe
what
we're
is
not going
rumored.
on to something more out there and freaky.
Okay. Yeah. So
Well, my out there and freaky pick is the Scorching Pokemon, Pokedex number 663, and that is Talonflame. And Talonflame is a Pokemon that, like, on the custom PvP Poke rankings, because we don't have the official ones yet, it's not particularly high. Like, it's lower than Espeon, but it's something that I've very much sort of fallen in love with since the Melbourne Play Pokemon Regionals last year, where Rick Flareon rode a Talonflame Surfetched combo to the championship medal. And so, I mean, obviously Talonflame, it's going to beat things like Jumpluff, Roserade, Superior, Pinsir, Whimsicott, the fire type doing fire type things. So it's like, it does the classic stuff. But one bonus win that I actually really like is the fact that it, against Araquanid, who has the water bug typing, you can go straight Flame Charge, use no shields, and Araquanid still won't win if it uses both shields. You can just absolutely power through the water type Araquanid, which I was like, what the heck is going on here? Like, you can just
I'm
eat
just
the bubble
looking at
beams.
it now, and that's honestly, if you've not looked at this, look at it.
You win in every shielding scenario.
Straight Flame Charge, no
What?
shields. It's absolutely bonkers. So when I was looking at it, I was like, this can't be right. I was like, obviously, you're going to beat the bug types except for Araquanid. No, Araquanid is still going down. And it can use all the shields in the world. First Flame Charge.
You've got 37 HP left afterwards.
Jesus.
It's not even a close win. It's not like, oh, you win with one turn difference. No, like they can swap in the Araquanid. You can probably swap in your Talonflame and still go.
Actually, I've looked at it where I've taken away Brave Bird completely here, and in the 2-1, 2-0, actually, Arachnoid wins.
Yeah.
It's got 2 shields.
Yeah.
Don't tell me
But
that.
only just. Arachnoid
Lol.
has 8 CP left, 8 HP left.
No, see, I've
at
just
the end of it, but it does win.
Yeah, I don't know, but obviously, like,
You take
on
away-
top of that, like,
And
if that's the only,
if you've got one Incinerate advantage as well.
yeah, you swap in the Talonflame and they
Yeah.
swap in the Araquanid to like counter you,
Yeah.
they're gone. Nothing
Yeah.
is going to happen.
It's literally a one-turn flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. No one's swapping Araquanid into Talonflame, Jake. Come on. That's
Never know.
Maybe that's the
No,
one
but-
water type, and they're like water type,
Maybe
big
it's
fire
a-
type, despite the thing that
maybe-
I said like ages ago. And
People would though. People would think
Maybe
water's
it's the
safe.
last mon that they've got left. And they're like, oh, this is going to be fine. I've got 2 shields. I've got an Araquanid. Everything's going to be good. And then all hopes are
and then
dashed.
it's not. Yeah.
Okay, but to build on this, not only like, that's the best thing about Talonflame. Full stop.
That's amazing.
That's a
Steve.
great, it's a great show.
I'm sold. I'm already
Like,
sold.
yeah, that alone should get people all just running to the Talonflame store. But like, it has other wins
I'm
as
sold.
well. Like straight flame charge, you beat Beware, you beat I think you beat Zangoose straight flame charge in the 1 shield and the 0 shield. I'm not sure. Oh, I think you might get it in the 2 shield, maybe. Have to check. But then like you also get ground types like Sandslash and Donphan, just because they don't really have stuff that they're throwing back. I think Sandslash might be moveset dependent. But then like you can also beat Rapidash straight flame charge, which is like, if people stupidly go for one of the other fire types. So I mean, Rapidash has got the bonus of having Drill Run, so you've got that sort of damage for the poison types. But if you're a big Talonflame believer to take down those Arachnids, then you're going to be beating the Rapidash. But and that's like, pretty sure that's just straight flame charge as well. But then like, if you want to be really, if you're dust rich, say you've got those millions of dust and you can spare the 10k dust to get the second move on your Talonflame, like Brave Bird is also just like such a nuke. Like you can one-shot so many Pokemon in this meta. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise that Espeon is on that list. But you can also like you one-shot Survivor, one-shot Galvantula, almost one-shot Arcanine. It's like 98% or something. So it's like, one Brave Bird plus an Incinerate, Arcanine's gone. Girafarig's almost a one-shot. It's like Talonflame just becomes this absolutely scary monster that no matter what you've got against it, you're burning shields. Like 3 Incinerates, and it's such a mind game because it's 3 Incinerates, and you could be throwing either the Flame Charge or the Brave Bird, and it's like straight away you're like, oh god. And if you pick wrong, then they're gonna come back against you in like 2 or 3 Incinerates. It's like
that makes it a really good lead as well. I used it as a lead in the cup with Dragonite and Steelix.
Flame dip strat.
Yeah, well, this is it. Like, if you lead it, you don't want to shield the first charge move, because if they stay in and build up your flame charges, but also if you let the Brave Bird through, you'd probably just lose the game there and then. Like, it's an incredible lead, man. It's
yeah, it's kind of like Ember Charizard, in which like everyone had to shield up the potential blast burns, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Lose?
It's a good point.
This is when Aaron comes along with his bubble poly just to ruin everybody's day.
No, it's a great show. What do you think about the fire types generally here, Steve? Like,
yeah.
is it like Dan was Dan was saying you need all your 6 months to pull their weight here? How do you feel fire type fits into that?
Well, it's sort of an interesting type because like there's not a ton of water. Samurott is probably like the big one that you're a little bit scared of. Although again, like, one Brave Bird, Samurott's not looking too hot. But like, it's sort of I don't think it's about having a fire type. It's not, you need a fire type for the grasses and the bugs running around. I think that Talonflame's big claim to fame is just that it has the damage. It isn't about the typing. It's just about the moves and the speed and having the fire flying typing for the stab. So, the typing matters a little bit, but I really don't think it's about the roll. And like, obviously, again, like it does beat the grass types and the bug types, the Jumpluffs that I think will get some use, the pincers that'll definitely get a little bit of use as well. Maybe if the psychics are too big, then not so much, but like there is use for the bug types. If someone brings in Dugong instead of Samurott, then they might need to get another water type. They've ditched that bug type that Samurott sort of gives you a little bit. So they need to bring bug somewhere else. They sort of bring in a, Beedrill or something, and Talonflame just sort of like sweeps away and sort of clears stuff out. So it's kind of like, I think it's a little bit of a, like, why bring Arcanine or Rapidash if you could bring in Talonflame?
I think you've nailed it there, to be honest. I think when I was looking at this and considering the fire types, I was looking at Talonflame because everything you've just said, but also other fire types I was looking at, because when I was thinking about, well, do I want that electric weakness added on? Do I want the ice neutrality? Which my next solution, which I'm sure you'll laugh at, doesn't solve the ice neutrality, but it does solve the electric weakness. And
Swear to God, if you say Lucario.
no, no, but it does it condenses roles like Talonflame does with a flame and a fire. My second choice fire behind Talonflame would probably be Camerupt. Which
You've been saying this since I've known you, Matt, and I've known you 3 years now, mate.
no, but now it has Incinerate,
But
and it has Earth Power. And actually, if you look at the Zero Shield matchups, it's as good, if not better, than Talonflame. I'm pretty sure it's like the 3rd or 4th best Zero Shield one.
if it has a drop of water near it, it dies. Doesn't even have to have the drop of water touching it.
Yeah, but
Just
what's
near
using?
it.
But what's using? But what's
Adjacent.
using a drop of water here? Like, I think the
A
biggest thing.
Raquinid.
That's
A bubble
fine.
kills it.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll take that matchup. That's fine. Like Whalmer is the water type that is going to do the most water type damage here. You know,
Don't sleep on
Fringe
Whalmer.
don't
been
sleep
there
on
before,
Whalmer.
Matt.
We've been there
We've
before.
been
a lot.
there. We've been there.
We have. But you know, it's not going to be a standout pick for. It's not going to be on 80% of teams, is what I'm saying. So, listen, Camerupt is always the joke, but I think it's more viable here than it's ever
There's a
been.
solid reason for that.
No, I agree. But
Talonflame does win the 2 shields against Camerupt.
How does
Talonflame
it
wins.
only win the 2s?
Camerupt technically wins the 1 shield, but I don't know how the heck that happens. Oh, you
Camerupt's-
land the overheat after baiting the Earth Power, and you win the 1s as Camerupt.
I love PB poking its baits.
Oh, and of course, you like
Okay.
the second you land a Brave Bird, Camerupt's gone. So that also
Yeah.
can't happen.
But what I'm saying here
Bird
is,
does 101% for the camera.
listen, I'm not saying
Do
that
you not
Camerupt is a
think-
Talonflame.
Do you not think Flareon is better than Camerot here because of the superpower? Because then you're hitting the normal types.
I think I'd be tempted to go.
Just
Probably-
throwing it out there.
I don't know. I don't think Flurry. I don't think the normal types are going to be all that. I think I'd be, if I wanted a fire with interesting coverage, like specific coverage that wasn't just a Brave Bird nuke, I'd probably look at Darmanitan, for which I can never seem.
Rock slide.
I can never seem to get on the rankings because I don't really know how it works. But I think the rock damage is really interesting here because the variety in the flying types is pretty huge, and it just adds.
What about Emble? That's got rock slide.
Has it?
Yeah, Blast Burn Rock Slide.
Oh, okay, well there we go then. But then Embo's weak to all the confusion users, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
No,
It's quite glassy as well.
Whereas this is what I'm saying. Camerupt, it has all the advantages of having ground as a defensive type. Here, really, you're resisting poison and you double resisting electric. But
Just throwing it out there, Darmanitan as a fire type wins the 1 shield against Jumpluff by 1 turn.
well, yeah, it's an Incinerate user, isn't it? So it's going to be sketchy.
No, it's Ember.
No, Darmanitan's Incinerate, isn't it?
No, sorry, yeah.
That's Incinerate, yeah.
Just on fire types, I had one of Matt's teammates say to me
That's
today
fine.
when we were talking about this cup, and he's like, "Yeah, but Shadow Blaziken's going to come and shift the meta up. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to absolutely change the meta." And I'm like, "It's not, mate." And he's like, No, it will. It will. Everybody will have to respect to Shadow Blaziken. I'm like, "Mate, it's not going to do anything." And he's like, "No, it definitely will." I'm like, "Mate, Shadow's a band. That's your teammate, Matt."
I know. I think he's playing as well at the minute. Yeah.
The thing that gets me about, I know we're way off topic here, but Blaziken, regular Blaziken loses the 1 shield to Vig.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like,
Yeah.
it loses when it's super effective.
I've had a soft spot for Blaziken ever since Kingdom back in season 1, and whenever it's been viable, I've always really tried. I've really tried hard to make it work, and
it just doesn't.
It just doesn't. Was it Forest Cup in season 2? It was pretty good in Forest, but other than that, it's not been. Yeah, I mean, I tried really hard to get it to work in Sunrise, I think. And then, like,
wasn't he one of the commanders or something like that, or not commando? It was one of the slot-based ones where you tried to make it work, and I was just like, no, Matt, no.
Yeah, Brawler, I think, as well. I tried it in Brawler. Yeah, so I'll continue to try and make Blaziken work, but not here when Confusion users don't have any resistance.
I've just looked and I used Blaziken in Forest Cup and I went 1-5. So let's not talk about Blaziken.
Hopefully that's more of a reflection on where you were at that time rather than.
I'd hope so.
Blaziken.
What season was Forest? Season 2?
2, yeah.
Yeah, it was the start of lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the UK.
I'm calling it that. That was the problem.
Oh, there you go.
And
yeah.
I think it was people at that time. You had a certain set of people who were still trying to use it with Blastburn, but then some people had cottoned on to Blaze Kick Stone Edge.
Yeah.
And the Blaze Kick Stone Edge option was the one you wanted there. And if you were trying to use it with Blastburn, you were just wasting your time.
Oh, I just looked at my thingo and I went 2-2 in a Forest Cup using I think it was Blaze Kick Stone Edge because Elite TMs were kind of new at the time.
Yes.
And I lost to Caleb Peng and Speediest Chief 2, who in season 2 went on to become world champion. So I'm not too upset about that.
Solid.
Yeah, you taking them losses. You'll live with that.
Yeah, we'll let you off there, Steve. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think similar to the psychic type situation. I think the fire type is that they all do slightly different things, and they'll possibly all be as common as each other behind Talonflame, which I do think will be a step ahead. But because of what Steve was saying, it's because it's the brave birder, rather than
it's the threat. The fear factor.
Yeah.
It's definitely given me something to think about. I had something in a slot that because I built my team with little slots and where I've decided things need to go. That a fire type would do the same job as that. That I think actually it was a tough bring. So no, that's given me food for thought, Steve. Thank you.
And then it's the flying type's always good because you can't ever just counter flying types because you can bring a Bastion on, but then if your opponent's got Bliscor, I mean, we're talking open grading now, but like even Bastion on isn't a catch-all for flying covers, for flying types because there's Bliscor out there. Like electric types have to worry a bit about jump off, which is more relevant here than Bastion on versus Bliscor, but. I think flying type is really, really valuable here. And there aren't amazing flying types here on the whole. So I think Talonflame's a really smart bring. Okay, so we'll move on to my pick now then. And I think that's probably the longest discussion we've ever had about fire types in the championship, which I really like because I love a fire type, but they're not the best at types historically.
It's also kind of ironic. It's kind of ironic that we, at the start of the season, we had a meta that was purposely designed to make fire types good. And this is the longest we've spoken about fire types.
It's a really good point. Yeah.
It's all the Arachnid, man.
It's true.
You just
blown my mind. That has blown my mind, honestly. I'm gonna.
Well,
waking up my kids in a bit, going like, Jackson, guess what? Guess what? Have you seen this? Come and have a look.
Well, it's one of them what blows my mind. That Steve's pick was Pokedex number 663, and my pick is Pokedex number 336. Which is the Fang Snake Pokemon, Seviper. Really, really solid mon. It's got a bit of the Espeon element to it, where it's poison jab, poison fang, and we know there's been a debuff to a nerf, even that's the word I'm looking for. The poison fangs. Well, there's a poison fang, poison fangs, poison fang. There's been a nerf there, so it's not as good as it was. But from the custom rankings that I looked at, it is ranked number 1 in the 2 shield scenario.
How do you get a 2 shield scenario?
What the hell?
Oh my god!
Well, you see, you use 2 shields.
Look at him. Look at this. This is it. We're all learning so much here.
I've been using this site for 2.5 years, 3 years now, and I never knew that you could change the shield scenarios.
So while you're there, Jake, while you're there, switch it to zeros, run it again, and read out the top 5 in the zeros for us. Just for a bit of indication here for myself.
When it generates. Come back to me in 25 minutes when people go to sleep.
Fuck off.
Go on, Dan. Go on.
Maybe mine's wrong, but that says Staraptor.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, that's what I said.
No, I can see when Callum joins this one in a couple of days' time, he's gonna go nuts.
But do you want to just read down a few, and then you get? I'm sure when you say the one that I
On
want
the zero. Oh, fuck off. Cameron is number 3.
Talon Flames at number 8, to be fair.
But Zeb Striker is number 7.
Right. Okay.
Just saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Zeb
No.
Striker.
Fair enough.
That flame charge.
Where is Espeon?
So
In zeros.
It's going to be like. Yeah.
we're all.
No, it's not last. It's not
No,
last.
77.
Oh
Out of
Jesus.
97.
Yeah. So we're all feeling a little bit redeemed here, which is good. This is what we like. But yeah. So Survivor really good in the 2s. Probably the best one in the cup in the 2s. Although on that you probably have to go into that accepting that you're not going to get 2 shields back. So you have to take that into account. But in a cup with so many types like this, and again going back to what Dan said about needing all 6 of your mons to play a role, there are going to be things that pop up that you're not expected or you're not quite prepared for, and I do not want to be unprepared for charm. I don't want to lose the charm. That's my big thing here, and there's no steel types, so that's gone. You've got your fire types as answers, which while they're not doing super effective damage, obviously Talon Flame's a really good answer because you are getting the boosts with the flame charge as you're going through that matchup. But really, if you want a hard charm counter, you want a poison type, and they're not without the flaws here, for want of a better way of putting it. Like we've just spent ages talking about Talonflame. So do you really want to bring Beedrill or Roserade? And then you've also got your confusion users, but Survivor has crunch, so you can, let's let
as well.
Yeah.
Get there.
So let's say an
get there.
Espeon switches in. You're going to be
You're
crunched.
not getting to a crunch against an Espeon.
You are.
Are you?
Yeah.
So you've got something that can force a shield in return, or you can force a shield if it wants to maintain switch. But yeah, you might need a couple of poison jabs there, but you'll get there for sure.
Did I say that convincingly enough, Jake, that you believe me? Because I haven't checked it.
Well, it's
you do actually.
Yeah, of course you do.
I thought you did. I played with Survivor, so I knew that you do reach the crunch against good confusion users. I was confident, but
However, one confusion does 33% of your health.
That's fine. That's fine. You still get into that crunch.
Like after a poison. Oh, sorry, no. It does 25% of your health if you've not thrown a Psychic Fangs.
So what we're saying here is that it's probably better to have bad IVs when you Survivor, so that you're only giving up 4 confusions worth of farm, not 5.
Yeah.
So there we go. This is this is chatting shit knowledge peak, at its finest. Which is good, because so maybe I'll be able to, that gives me an excuse to build my shiny one rather than my good rank one that I have built. So I've played against the Survivor before, actually. Before I played Dan earlier today. I faced one in Continental Season 3 and it wrecked me. It really gave me a tough time. And so I'm not going to go into this underestimating Survivor, even with the nerf. There's also, I think, a lot to be said about the debuff move here, as there is with Psychic Fans. When even the bulkiest mons here, like Dugong and Araquanid, have debuff moves, and so being able to debuff them in return, it's like if you get behind on energy versus those mons, typically there's no way back. Typically speaking, like Dugong is incredible, up a bit of energy, but if you can sort of approach that scenario and say, yeah, fine, I'm going to lose this, but they're going to need to switch out afterwards because they're going to they've got 3 defense buffs here or what have you. Like, you sort of, it helps you deal with these bulky mons as a team of 3 rather than having a direct counter, which isn't always going to be possible because well, we've talked a bit about electrics and how they're a bit frail. So perhaps beating these big bulky behemoths by using your team collectively is potentially a better way to go. So I think not only is it fantastic in the 2s, and it can also really, really hurt its hardest counters, but it also has really solid team play, team support versus the bulkiest mons. And it stops you from losing automatically to Charm, which for me adds up to make a picture of a really, really good mon. So
yeah. I think having access to that, the sort of super effective moves to its counters really does sort of open things. I think a lot of people sort of get stuck in a sort of PV poke mindset, and they get stuck in thinking of this full HP, no energy, go. And that's how they sort of define matchups in their head. But once you sort of get into the battlefield, there's a lot of times where it's like you've sort of like, maybe you're in a situation where you've got this tiny little bit of HP left on the opponent's mind. You bring in a Viper, get 2 poison jabs in, get it down, and then you're sort of able to get this crunch in the end game, throw the crunch and take out the counter in the back. And it's like having the ability to not be walled in that way is really, really useful in a game when all sorts of things can happen. That's so dynamic, when every decision can be made every half a second. It's sort of outside of if you're in that lead scenario, you'll get 1 crunch off before you get confusion down in 4. You'll also have that extra ability to sort of fight out in those other bits that could make it pretty useful.
And I think just on that, like, if you're going to get that shield that way, you're going to have something that can then absorb the energy that the opponents built up. And admittedly, that's where things get a bit tough here. And I think it pairs incredibly well with Orangaroo, because that's the thing that can take on all the charge moves from all the psychic types, and hit some ball back well. And so the fact that it makes such a strong core with such a mon that's strong in its own right, and you can play more aggressive and stick Giraffe Rig in there if you fancy the different moves or what have you. But I wouldn't pair it with Espeon. I'd want a bulkier psychic, but the fact that it pairs so nicely with mons that are good is an extra bonus as well. Sorry, Jake. That wasn't meant as a slight on Espeon. What I'm saying is,
I felt like such a dig.
What I'm saying is that if I'm going with the fragility of Survivor, which is, it's not the most fragile mon, but it's by no means an Azumarill style tank.
It's got a higher stat product than Espeon.
Well, exactly right. But I don't want to then rely on Espeon to take the hits from another psychic type. So that's all I'm needed there. So go on, Dan.
No, go on. You finish your point, Matt.
I was going to say it's around that 1600 stat product range, so it's similar bulk to maybe Toxic Rogue, that sort of thing. That was my point.
I think Survivor, when I said about all the different parts and filling different roles, I think that's the type of mon it is. It's not a star of your team.
No.
I think that's what you've just described it as there, as sitting in the back, just waiting for somebody to rock up with double charm and to go, you're having this, mate. And I do, that's why, again, earlier I said it's not about having a winning 3. It's not Ionic. It's about having more than that and about being able to build the team around it. I think it fills the same role, though, definitely, as Talonflame. And that's what I think you have to make the decision of whether you're going to go with a fire type or a poison type in that aspect. And I suppose that depends on your confusion type. I tried pairing it earlier with Dustox and it didn't work because I came across other confusion teams. As I said, Matt played me with double confusion and absolutely spanked me because I had Dustox and Survivor in the same line, and it just crushed me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a particularly good argument. I think for saying that double poison's bad or that double confusion's good. I think if double confusion comes up against double poison, I think I don't think
you've got a 20-second battle on your hands.
Yeah, I don't think you can read too much into that.
It wasn't a long battle. It wasn't a long battle. I'll say that. But I do like it. I do think the Poison Fangs do add up, and I think you can get to them fairly quickly, and it leaves the other team sort of vulnerable to you. So,
just out of interest, why do you think you can't run it with Talonflame?
I think they do the same role, and that's why I wouldn't run them together. I think you've got to look at your roles that you want on that team there. So.
But they have very different.
Again, I'd looked at it, and maybe I was on an over alliance with my team build with Bugwater, because everything I had in my mind was gotta beat the psychics. So, and that was just my initial mindset. I mean, I'll be honest, I only really started properly looking today, and that was because. Yeah, you finally said, "Oh, I'm fed up of Ionic. Are you fed up of it, Dan?" I was like, "Yes." It's like, should we do something with Polkadot? Yes. I'll start building. Yes. Sat there in the gym on the exercise bike, just building teams like that. Yeah. Sadly, I did, and then messaged him straight away while still on the exercise bike, going, "Do you fancy a few battles, mate?" But yeah,
it's that mind shift boost sort of shift that we actually don't get these days with the new wave system, where both of the metas are announced at once. You don't get the big point of it's time to move to the new meta now. So I guess
it's almost like there comes a point where you remember you have to move onto it rather than being told, right? And so it's.
We used to have calls on reveal night, we'd all, get on a call together and just wait for it to be revealed, and then immediately talk about it.
True. Yeah, it's true. But okay, go on, Jake.
I have a question. First off, when is this video going out? Will it be
within the next few hours of it finishing? I guess. Yeah.
Okay, I can't say that then.
I can pause, and you can. I'll pause the recording.
No, the point is that I was going to reveal a tactic that I've been using this month, and I've still got matches to play this month. So
okay.
I'm not going to do that. But I think,
coward.
Yeah, that's right. I've got a rank 12 Viper for this month in my own. No, but I think back to what Dan was saying earlier on about Samurott and using it as a potential soft lose mon. When you are using Poison Jab, Poison Fang, the Poison Fangs are coming hard and they're coming fast, and those Poison Jabs, they add up more and more over time. And so I can see a situation where you could use Survivor to bring some health low. Don't invest a shield in it if you don't need to, that kind of thing. To throw a Poison Fang off, and then you've got the opportunity to come in and gain a bunch of energy on whatever it was that was before. And I think then you're into a whole other realm of weird stuff where it's going to be the same case of people looking at PV Poke and thinking this beats this from a 0 head start, But when you've got, I don't know, like 2 confusions advantage or something on an Orangaroo, you're gonna blitz through a lot of things because it depends if you're going to run Psychic or if you're going to run Future Sight and just go stupid with it. But I think I can see an opportunity for where Poison Fang on this could be a really useful secondary matchup move. I quite like Survivor. I played against it before, and the comparison with Toxicroak was a very good one because they are almost identical in stats.
Do you know what's really sad is that I've looked at so many sims down the years and I didn't even throw it up. I just knew that. How sad is that? And that's not one of those niche ones where it's like Sableye, Frostloss, Venusaur, Swampert are all around the same. That's just, I just knew that.
Yeah, but I looked it up and they are almost identical. It's 138, 136, 89, 91, 130, 131. So there's only 1 point of difference between their stat totals.
Yeah, I'll take that. Go on, Steve, you were going to say something.
I still had the PV Poke up with the 0 shields, and I was like, oh, Survivor does lose to Camerupt.
I mean, it probably does anyway.
No, Survivor still comes back in the 1 shield and the 2 shield.
Really? Okay, scratch what I was saying about Camerupt. Okay, well.
Yeah, but can't even beat a pure poison type. I don't know what's.
I mean, no. To be fair, it's probably some. Hang on, I'm now in a situation where I'm saying that my pick's shit. Okay, but there's probably some situations with Poison Fang baits in there. Like I suspect Camerupt probably comes out if they.
It's going straight crunch, no Poison Fang.
That's without a debuff as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do this to myself sometimes.
But if he still gets like another 2 incinerates, he'll be able to get to the next move.
I'm going to run Camerupt at least once this month.
You show us.
Spice Night.
Yeah, you tell us.
There you go. Spice Night. There you go.
Spice Night, unranked. I'm running Camerupt.
Mono Fire. There we go.
And Survivor. And Shadow Blaziken. Fuck it, why not?
There is someone out there who regular viewers of the channel will probably know who I'm talking about, who, if I'm 2-0 up against her in the 3rd game, I will always use Shadow Zapdos, regardless of whether it's legal or not, whether it's on my team or not. Just I'll take the loss. I just want to use Shadow Zapdos, but yeah.
I have a friend who I do that too. Not Shadow Zapdos, but I just completely go in with something that's not legal at all and wait for them to say something.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's not just me who's just that sort of.
I've never thought of it before. I'm taking this on.
There we go.
It's the times when they don't say anything and you know that they've just lost their soul.
They're just raging.
You couldn't do it with somebody you're really close with. You can't do it with just a random person.
No.
You've got to actually be good friends with them.
Yeah, and there's got to be a story there to make it really hurt. So,
I'm going to do this to both of you next time I play you.
So I'm expecting the Shadow Metagross game 3. Yeah, that's
it's going to be Shadow Metagross and Fraction.
There you go.
You
honestly,
talk
I
shit about
watched him
Shadow
with Shadow.
Metagross.
I watched him with Shadow Metagross the other day, and oh my god, he literally was clearing up with it.
Mate,
Absolutely.
he absolutely wrecked me in Glacial with Shadow Metagross and Fracture. Like
Yeah.
I can't sit here and say anything other than that.
I had so much fun with them.
Just
was it?
one thing I did want to touch on, which I thought was really interesting, given that I'm pointing Survivor as the best anti-fairy option here. I was reminded the other day, playing some of the Psychic Cup in GBL, that actually Galarian Rapidash gets high horsepower now.
It does. Yes.
I mean, to be fair, Psychic probably wipes you off there, but there are fairies that perhaps don't run Charm that will have play versus you. Galarian Rapidash being the only one that comes to mind immediately, but yeah.
I mean, Galarian Rapidash. When you're saying we use these different words rather than fairy and charm. Do you know what I mean? So you're not really.
Yeah, and the poison fangs are still, the poison jabs are still going to mean that you can maybe one shield farm that even without throwing a charge moves. There's still plenty of play. But it's just things you've got to be wary of because it's not a catch-all. Yeah. Okay.
Talonflame does beat Galarian Rapidash though.
Does Camerups? That's the one.
Yeah. Does it beat Survivor?
I bet that's shield dependent. I bet Talonflame wins the zeros, and I bet Survivor wins the twos, and the ones is going to be really close.
One way to find out.
There is one way to find out.
While you're simming that, I'm going to sim Rapidash versus Camerups.
Talonflame says it wins the ones, but loses the default ones and twos. Oh, but it goes straight Brave Bird.
Yeah, because you're not getting to a second.
Yeah.
You might do it.
Yeah. It says 1 turn difference, but it's an incinerate difference, I think.
Yeah, fine. Rapidash.
Oh no, you get there. You actually do just need the extra time for the
die. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if a Survivor swaps in,
Talonflame, let's go.
Talonflame, Survivor counter.
Cool. Well, before we go into any more absolute nonsense, this is what I like about this cup. All this nonsense is legitimate. There isn't. I mean, you might argue against the camera up talk, but I don't think there's anything that's been said tonight that isn't legitimately useful.
Well,
I don't know.
Espeon might be a stretch.
16 Fury Cutters.
Okay, yeah.
100% of the meta. That might be.
Okay, fair enough. We've done well overall, though. It's been. I think it's been like this could be it. This is a meta where we could sit down and talk for 4 hours and not cover everything, which I think we haven't had a meta like this in a long time, and that's why I think it's interesting. But yeah. So, unless anyone's got any final thoughts on anything, we'll maybe wrap it up.
Oh, I think, as you said, there's a lot of room for just weird stuff, and I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm hoping to find a new interesting mon to play with. So
a new Fracture.
Yeah, there's nothing to replace that. A dragon type that beats Frostlass. Come on. Yeah, I think it could be an interesting one to play about with. And if what you said is true about it being this new, really good, really fun cup, then I'm cautiously optimistic.
I don't know whether I think it could be fantastic. I think it could be awful. I don't think there's going to be much middle ground. I think it's either one way or the other.
Matt, your team that you played me with today, you'd given it a little bit of thought.
That was the team I last used when we were doing testing as in the meta team. So I haven't thought about it in 4 or 5
I just meant.
But yeah, there was thought into it at some point. Yeah,
I'd given my team a couple of hours thought and a build, and do you know what I mean? And I had a logic to why I was using it and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was thought.
We had one mon in common, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not usually crap at picking teams. I'm just crap at playing. So,
I think
you
you're being a
know,
bit harsh on yourself there, Jan,
Yeah,
but
I don't think that's fair to say.
B+ at best, mate. B+ at best. But yeah, I just meant that's always a good sign of when you've got two people who are experienced building teams and they're not picking the same teams, and it's, you know, you're always going to get commonality, but
yeah, of course you are. Yeah.
1 out of 6 is really good. So
And that one, we had a really good laugh at tonight as to how bad.
yeah, you know what I mean. We now know Talonflame absolutely destroys it.
so maybe that'll make me think again. But yeah. Well, I'm glad people are optimistic. I really am.
Do you see this being? So I think that Architect was probably the best cup we've had. You know. Where would you rank this?
That's a hard question to answer. I think if this is as good as I think it could be,
okay.
I don't think it'll be as good as Architects. I don't. I could see how you might.
Different breeds. I mean, Architect was a scalpel of a meta. It was fantastically crafted, and do you know what I mean? It was laser focused in what it did. As this is much more, you know, like a shotgun pellet where it just goes, still does a fuckload of damage. Do you know what I mean? As much damage as a scalpel, but that scalpel straight across your throat. This is just going to blow your neck off.
Yes.
So there's that sort of. I see there'd be much more debauchery with this one, as there was less debauchery with Architect, but it was quite fun.
No, there's a fun level of chaos to it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's more chaoticness to this. Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, I think sure there'll be people. There are people out there who don't like the whitelist style metas, and they won't be shifted on that, regardless of how good the meta is, whether it's Architect or otherwise, right? And so those people are, you know, aren't not going to enjoy this still. I mean, they might. I hope they do. But it wouldn't surprise me if people said, "Oh, that's a top 5 meta," or you know, or I think it has that potential. I really do.
Okay.
But it's just how much people want to embrace running different mons, because it's not like, you know, I heard lots of good feedback about Naiad, and that was using mons that people typically are used to using anyway, like your Altaria, your Walrein, your Greedent, your Jellicent to some extent as well, right? Swampert, Wishcash. This isn't that, is it? Let's face it, it's not that. But I think if people can go into it with the mindset of just because it's not that doesn't mean it's not going to be good, I think there's a lot of enjoyment to be had, I think. Yeah.
Okay. I'll as I say, cautiously optimistic. I think it's a good place to be.
Yeah, I think it's a sensible place to be. Yeah, I think Dan and I have sat here every month for many years and gone, "This is amazing!
It's gonna be the best meta ever."
So yeah, I think maybe we're learning gradually, but yeah.
I think I need something like this meta. I really do.
A lot of people do.
I've got to be honest. I've got another tournament to run this month. I don't like these people who back out of tournaments. I think it's poor. You might as well just go into it and just take it as what it is, even if you realise you've made a bad team. I'm not looking forward to starting another tournament this month. And I'm already committed to it because I'm hosting it. So
why don't you just host it then? I know that's a topic for another time, but
no, it's not possible. It's not possible. It's in person, and you know, with numbers and things like that, it's just not possible. Yeah. And I'd made a promise I wasn't going to use a certain mon this month, and I'm still going to stick to that promise. I'm not going to use that mon this month. And yeah, this is the hill I'm going to die on.
That's fair.
That's it. yeah, it's so I need this. I need to be able to have some fun. I need to build 6 different teams for a month and play 6 different tournaments. And
Yeah.
I've struggled with the wave system playing less. And yeah, I like to. Yeah, it's I need to spark joy, and I really think this will. I really like the idea of going down and picking a Qualadin and going, yeah, I'm having it. Go for it. You know what I mean? Using Massive Hyper, which I've had for a long time and not used, I think, competitively at all. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Fair enough. Well, that seems like a good point, a good place to leave it. So, yeah, thank you all for joining me, and relatively short notice as well, like Steve in particular. So, thank you, Steve. Really, really appreciate you joining us. But,
Anytime.
well, yeah, I hope everyone enjoys it as much as I think I'm going to, and certainly Dan thinks he's going to. So that's yeah. I hope that's what people get out of this. Yeah. So catch you later.
Cheers, guys.